Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And this panel, you all have to be exhausted after being grilled all day long like this. So my questions are to Mr. Zuckerberg. When you came before our committee in 2018, you acknowledged that Facebook had used what you just said, clear standards preventing the sale of illegal drugs on your site. But you were shown examples of active posts that traffickers were still using that platform unlawfully to sell prescription opioids. Now, you did apologize and confirm that, quote, social media companies need to do a better job of policing these posts, close quote. Now, 3 years later, it appears a shell game is emerging. Facebook seems to have cleaned up its act, but you're now allowing Instagram, one of your subsidiaries, to become the new vehicle. Even though Instagram has the same policies against the sale of illegal substances, you're still allowing bad actors to push pills on your site. Look, it didn't take long for our staff to find numerous examples. For example, here's oxycodone is being sold on your site. Here's Ritalin that's being sold on your site. Here's Xanax, an Adderall that's being sold on your site. So these posts they're not new. They've been active since last fall. If we can find posts this easily, shame on you for not finding them for yourself. Apparently, you're not taking the warnings of Congress seriously. After drug manufacturers dump millions of pills into our community, killing thousands, ravaging families, and destroying livelihoods, Congress responded by passing laws to hold them liable. If a retail store is selling cigarettes or other to underage kids, that store is held liable. So why shouldn't you be held liable as well? Do you think you're above the law? You're knowingly allowing this poison to be sold on your platform into our communities, to our children, to our vulnerable adults. Look, I've read Scott Galloway's book, The Four. I encourage all the members on this committee to read it as well. It's a perfect depiction of the arrogance of big tech companies like Facebook, Google, Apple, and Amazon. He develops a very compelling argument as to why big tech companies should be broken into smaller companies, much like that occurred in AT&T in 1984. Maybe it's time for Congress to have an adult conversation about this loss of liability protection and the need to reform our antitrust laws. I don't think Congress wants to tell you how to run your company, but maybe it should. So, Mr. Zuckerberg, let me close with this one question. And so don't you think you'd find a way to stop these illegal sales on your platforms if you were held personally liable?
Keep on getting muted. Congressman, we don't want any of this content on our platforms. And I agree with you that this is a huge issue. We've devoted a lot of resources and have built systems that are largely quite effective at finding and removing the content. But I just think that what we all need to understand is that at the scale that these communities operate, where people are sharing millions or in messages billions of things a day, it is inevitable that we will not find everything. Just like a police force in a city will not stop every single crime. So I think that we should.
I asked you the question very directly, Mark. I did it. Should you not be held liable when people are dying because your people are allowing these sales to take place? We did it with manufacturers. We do it to the stores. Why aren't we doing it to the salesman that allows this to take place?
Well, Congressman, I don't think we're allowing this to take place. We're building systems that take the vast majority of this content off our systems.
And what I'm saying, this for 3 years, Mark. We've been doing 3 years. This has been going on, and you said you were going to take care of it last time. But all you do is switch from Facebook over to Instagram. They're still doing it now, and you're saying we need to do more. Well, how many more families are going to die? How many more children are going to be addicted while you still study the problem? I think you need to be held liable.
Congressman, we're not sitting and studying the problem. We're building effective systems that work across both Facebook and Instagram. But what I'm saying is that I don't think that we can expect that any platform will find every instance of harmful content. I think we should hold the platforms to be responsible for building generally effective systems at moderating these kinds of content.
Gentleman's time is
Go back
expired.
for time. I'm not going to get an answer, Mike. Thank you.
Gentleman yields back. The chair recognizes Ms.